Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Larry Lavine.
That's probably Charles, isn't it?
Charles Zito. Let me see. I'll get you this correct spelling.
Hold on, I'm getting in. I'm going to pull his judgment. You ever seen his criminal judgment?
No.
Zito, right?
Yeah.
Charles
Alfred Zito Jr.
Charles Alfred Zito Jr. Well, he's going to be the only Charles Zito in here. Wow. Look at all this guy. Fuck. Filed some bankruptcies and shit. All right. If this is him, where's the CR case? Where was the case out of? Do you know?
I believe it was Manhattan, the feds in Brooklyn, right?
Here's one. Charles Salvatore Zito is in Alabama.
Alfred Zito.
All right, hold on a minute here. New York, Southern District of New York. That's a civil case. Hold on. 28 cases. These are not obviously all him. Let me back out of this. Let me do a new search.
His birthday's 1953, March 1st, 1953.
That don't mean shit. Party search. All right. Party roll, court type. Criminal. Zito. Z-I-T-O. Let's see what the comes up. All right. Charles Zito. Oh, there's a new one. You know what? I'm not finding. Are you sure they didn't indict him under Chuck?
It could have been.
Here's a Charles Zito that was just charged.
Yeah, he was just charged in New York or New Jersey, right?
No. Just recently, right?
Yeah, with license plate something.
No, this is in the Southern District of Alabama.
No. He
was
just.
Hold on, I'll tell you. Hold on, Bill. Placed on probation for 5 years. Arraignment. This obviously is not him. Participate in mental health. Well, he's not cuckoo as far as I know. All right, so let's put in the word Chuck. Because I'm not even finding the case, which is very strange.
Mm-hmm.
Z-I-T-O. Even if the case was sealed, I'd still find it. All right. C-H-U-C-K. Chuck Zito. Well, new search. Let's just start a new search here. Z-I-T-O. C-H-U-C-K. And search. All right. Zito. 1995. Chuck Zito. This was in Northern District of Illinois. Let me pull this. All right. So I'm in a system called Pacer. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah.
I have a commercial Pacer account, which allows me to pull things that somebody just doing a search on the internet cannot do. And I don't even see him in. It's not a matter of the case is sealed. Case isn't even here. This is different than a sealed case. I'm going to do an advanced search. New York Southern District, 1989. Zito versus.
That's it.
Zito versus the Parole Commission. All right, so it was an 80s case. Okay, hold on here.
1989 is when he was released.
So they put him on parole, which means his case was probably from 1984.
Yep, 1984 is when his case, he got sentenced.
All right, so hang on here, dude. This is not him. This doesn't reach back that far. You'd have to go to the archives. But all right, let me cut out of this. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to do some explanation for you. Run report, transaction. Warden Otisville. I can't pull this. It's not available. The case is too old. He filed a habeas corpus against the warden of the Otisville Correctional Facility where he was at. So there's no question this is him. We don't know if they sent, well, he said they sentenced him to 10 years, right? Or is that the time they gave him? I'm confused. Did he get a 10-year sentence or did he get a 1-year sentence?
He said he got 10-year sentence. 10-year sentence. They said, boom, 10 years.
Okay.
Sent him
So
off.
then it would be a 35. Let me explain the difference between a Rule 35 and a 5K1, just to expand the viewers. All right, you're going through a federal case. Doesn't matter what the it is. You decide you want to rat out your co-defendants for whatever reason. You get a 5K1, which means you provided substantial assistance to the feds in the prosecution of another. So you go to sentencing and judge cuts you a break. You could have pled guilty to whatever. And the judge is going to fill out something called an SOR. You ever heard of an SOR, Bill? It stands for Statement of Reasons. It's always sealed. Statement of Reasons is going to say why the judge gave you that sentence, opposed to what your guideline sentence should be.
Oh, so if it has a mandatory minimum, he can go under it.
Well, if on a 5K1, they can. Also on a drug case, there's something called the safety valve for first-time offenders. They're not a leader, manager, or organizer. There was no violence. They weren't in a management role. It's been a while. Not more than one criminal history point. In other words, yeah, there are ways that the judge can go below the mandatory minimum. Now, let's say that you get sentenced, and after the fact, you come in and you provide some type of assistance. Then the U.S. attorney, it can't be your lawyer, the U.S. attorney then files a 5K1. They tell the court that you gave substantial assistance, and generally it means that you informed on someone. I don't know what Zito did. You don't know. We could assume anything. But they file the Rule 35. They bring you back, and well, they don't even need to bring you back into court. Not really. Your lawyer goes into court with the U.S. attorney and they just resentence you. It's a paperwork matter. They change the judgment. And boom, your sentence, all of a sudden you're outdated on the BOP, the Bureau of Prisons computer changes.
He could have gave him any type of information and they could have did this, right? They could have said, what's the inner working of the club?
Okay,
or
let's
anything.
put it like this. The U.S. attorney, the feds, do they watch the Department of Justice? Probably do. You're probably on a watch. Hey, you and me, we're probably on a watch list. Okay? We're good company. All right. These fuckers don't give anything away. They have to have a damn good reason to give somebody a Rule 35. They're not just going to break off somebody's sentence and say, well, okay, you're a nice guy and we're going to knock 3 years off. You had to have done something for them. So in all likelihood, he probably did. What he gave up, you and I will never know. Now, the way to determine that, I mean, he was involved. He was a 1%er. He was a nomad, HA. In fact, I have clients right now. I have active clients that are HAs that they trust me. They don't trust their lawyer for obvious reasons because they know I'm not going to bullshit them. But I would go back if I had to. And if I had access to these records that are that old, remember, we're talking what, 40? We're talking 40 years ago, Bill. This wasn't digitized back then. This is sitting, if his case was from New York, his is sitting in a records archive in an evidence room. They archive.
Yeah.
So anyway, they cut him a break. They bumped some time off because I don't want to say cooperate. I don't want to disrespect the guy. Everybody's situation is different. But it appears that perhaps he provided some useful information to them that they were able to use in another case. If it was me and I had access to all these records, I would go and look and see who in that time period that were involved in the clubs got sentenced and correlate that with what their actual crime was and how much time they got. And you look for somebody that all of a sudden, hey, this just got an enhancement. Where did that enhancement come from? Well, the feds went and superseded this. You know what a superseding indictment is?
It's where they put you on an indictment and you don't even have to really be a part of it, right?
Well, now superseding means, all right, government comes in, they bend you over and they take you up. So they just charged you. Okay. And they list count 1, count 2, count 3. All right. An indictment is that's like a legal charging document. Then you have multiple counts. Now, in my case, I had multiple indictments with multiple counts on each one because I was committing so many different crimes with so many different groups of people. They couldn't charge me on one indictment. But anyway, so the feds come in and they charge you with whatever. Let's say 5 months, 6 months after you've been charged, the feds say, hey, we've got additional information. You committed other crimes we didn't know about. We're going to supersede you.